Alright, so for the first time in a very long time, I don't even remember the last time this was a thing, but the Vancouver Canucks are now officially above 500. They attained the 500 mark 2 games ago against the, oh my goodness, who the heck was it that they played before? Was it Anaheim? Yeah, they beat Anaheim, I believe, and then they were at 500 because of that game. Then losing to LA in a shootout. Hey, guess what? They get a game played, but they get a point, still at 500. Now tonight against the Seattle Kraken, smacking the Kraken here at Climate Pledge Arena. The Vancouver Canucks go out there. They win 5-2 in regulation. They get the 2 points. They are now above 500. And with this victory, if we go over to the NHL standings, we see where the Canucks are in the Pacific. They are now tied with the LA Kings and the San Jose Sharks for 5th in the division, although the Canucks have 2 more games played than both of these teams. Edmonton, they've been struggling as of late. They're at 38 points, 32 games played as well. They are in the final wild card, I believe. No, actually, the final wild card belongs to the Colorado Avalanche in the Central, but still, the Oilers are right there. They're in the 7th place spot in the West. Vancouver, man, you talk about that Wile E. Coyote meme and the Roadrunner and all that. This is pretty exciting. When you talk about games that the Vancouver Canucks need to go out there and at the very least get points in, this Pacific road trip is kind of the epitome of that. Seattle, LA, Anaheim, you have these teams that are also Pacific rivals that are going to be fighting for playoff spots with the Canucks should the Canucks go out there and actually do stuff. And against a Seattle Kraken team that was already kind of vulnerable, already have lost 4 in a row. They're at their home arena, the fans are buzzing over here, and the Vancouver Canucks go out there and absolutely taketh to this Kraken team. Now, before we actually go over into the highlights and whatnot, I wanted to say a few things here first. Firstly, Philipp Grubauer. I've been giving this guy crap the entire year because he's been bad, and he's been one of the worst goaltenders in the entire league, especially when you factor in the money he makes. But I will say, up until the Conor Garland goal, the 4-2 goal, I really did think that Grubauer was having a solid game. Aside from, of course, the goals he let in earlier, it's not really his fault, the goals that went in, but we're going to be talking about that later. Also, the reputation of the Seattle Kraken being a third-period team really showed itself off because, dude, this team started to look a little bit dangerous in that final frame. But before we get into any of that, let's go over what happened earlier on in the game. We're going to be skipping over to the Carson Soucy on Conor Garland hit. There's a big one right in front of the penalty box. Garland kind of has his head down, but it's still a pretty high hit nonetheless. Tanner Pearson goes out there and fights Soucy immediately afterwards. Take note of Tanner Pearson, man, because that guy had himself an impact. He went out there, stood up for Garland. John Garrett was saying that it was a high hit and that the NHL might actually take a look at this one. But going over into the next few minutes, the period goes by pretty quickly. There's lots of scrambly plays in either zone up until the Kraken have the puck behind their own goal line. It's Will Borgen who tries to feed one in front for any of the Kraken players to break the puck out, but it goes right through both of his guys, right onto the tape of Vasili Podkolzin, who takes it, steals it, grips it, rips it, and snipes it right through Grubauer. He has no time to get set because he thought that his own player would be receiving the puck over there. 1-0 Vancouver after a very nice snipe by Vasili Podkolzin. The Canucks then get a power play off a Jared McCann penalty, and they control the power play pretty much. The Kraken were trying to clear it out, but they couldn't really get it all the way down. Eventually, it's a shot from the outside that gets tipped by Nils Hoglander, and he gets his own rebound. It goes up high, gets it to go. 2-0 Vancouver with this Nils Hoglander goal over here. Very nice to see Pod and Hogs getting on the score sheet, and the next few shifts for these two guys were absolutely fantastic. Hoglander specifically was an absolute hound dog on the power play, as well as just in the offensive zone in general. He's going out there stealing pucks, trying to be a nuisance, and getting chances, and that's really what you want to see out of the Vancouver Canucks 2019 second-round pick. Eventually, Hughes goes to the box and the Kraken almost score right away, but Eberle can't shoot the puck. That's the end of the first period. We end off 2-0. The second period starts out, and the Canucks look pretty good in both zones. As we said, Hoglander and Podkolzin especially. Canucks, I noticed, were doing a really good job at digging out rebounds in this period, taking the pucks that are loose in front and sending them out to the side, but eventually it's Calle Jarnkrok who scores all the way out on like the half boards near the blue line, with a big screen from Yanni Gourde. Thatcher Demko cannot see the puck. It goes right through him. Jarnkrok brings the team within one, right there at the halfway mark of the game. Eventually, the Kraken get a brilliant 2-on-1. Just a few minutes later, Jarnkrok gets the cross crease, but he slides it right into Demko's pads. That was a really high danger scoring chance. Almost got his second of the game there. Eventually, it's Matthew Highmore who gets a breakaway the opposite side too, but his shot gets popped up into the air. The trailing Kraken player forces Highmore into the goalie and the net, so Tyler Motte, who is following through as the trailer, cannot shoot the puck on the rebound. The Canucks eventually have some weird stuff going on with Oliver Ekman-Larsson to end off this second period. He actually was taken out of the game and the bench towards the end of the second there, which gave Kyle Burrows some more shifts because that guy has been suiting up too. With Jason Dickinson being out due to protocol, the Canucks had to go out there and dress up a whole bunch of guys. Hunt was there, Burrows was there, plus all the other defensemen. We had some great news to start off the third period, though, because Oliver Ekman-Larsson did indeed return to the lineup. The Canucks get a power play. Susie took a penalty for holding. Petey was in the bumper spot over here. He had himself a little tip that unfortunately went too high. Having him in the bumper spot is really interesting. I'm kind of intrigued as to seeing whether or not we're going to have that long term. The Canucks get some good zone time on the power play, but they can't convert. Once the power play is over, though, guess who it is? Jim Rutherford calling out the bottom six. It's Juho Lammikko who steals the puck down low, sends it over to the side. Highmore picks it up in the corner, and he throws one right out in front to Tyler Motte. He scores, he waits, he takes, and it's a very, very nice shot right there. Makes it 3-1 Vancouver, and that's their bottom six, your bottom line over there, getting some offense through and through. Eventually, Tanner Pearson gets himself an opportunity. He splits the D after a pass from Elias Pettersson, gets a great shot on the backhand saved by Grubauer. And this is kind of where I'm sort of feeling it. You know, Grubauer, for all the crap that I've given him over the year, he hasn't really been bad in this one. This has been a pretty solid game for Grubauer, even though he's let in 3 goals. All those goals were not really his fault. And the anxiety starts to really pick itself up when Will Borgen, the guy who assisted on the Vasili Podkolzin goal, redeems himself for that play. He drives a shot from the right point, goes straight in and by Thatcher Demko. That is his first NHL goal in his 20-something game of his career. It's now 3-2, and Climate Pledge Arena is buzzing. However, right as they're reading out the goal announcement over the PA, guess who scores? It's Hughes goes over to Garland, who drives home a slap shot, and it goes short side on Grubauer. Grubauer was kind of frustrated because he was trying to go at Tanner Pearson, who was right in front of him, while the shot came through, and because he was shoving at Tanner Pearson, he wasn't really paying attention to the shot, which is why it went right through, and they were debating on the broadcast, okay, maybe they challenged for goalie interference because Grubauer was touching the guy. It wasn't like Pearson was interfering with Grubauer, it's just Grubauer was making that choice to go out there and focus on the player in front of him instead of the puck. But it goes short side on Grubauer, it's 4-2 Vancouver, and this was kind of wild because immediately after, the Kraken almost scored. They had himself a few very good cross-crease chances. Then Tyler Motte goes to the box for high sticking. Jordan Eberle goes out there, hits the crossbar. The Seattle power play looks really good. Morgan Geekie almost gets a cross-crease goal, but it's stoned by the side of the net, and Thatcher Demko being there too. And around this time, I'm starting to review in my head, dude, the Kraken have had so many really good chances right here. This is what they mean when they say the Kraken are a third-period team. My goodness. They pull the goalie down 4-2 with about 2 minutes and something seconds left, and it's Tanner Pearson who takes a long shot beyond the red line. Shades of Louis Eriksson right there, who gets it right through to go straight into the middle. Empty net specialist Tanner Pearson out here once more. And so if you compile Tanner Pearson getting himself the goal, the empty net goal, him getting the fight earlier on in the game, as well as the assist on the Conor Garland goal, Tanner Pearson got a Gordie Howe Hat Trick today. So, that's very nice to see. I know, I've definitely been the most critical person on the internet when it comes to Tanner Pearson and the way that he plays, but you gotta give credit where credit is due. Gordie Howe Hat Trick, definitely something you would like to see, then not see. The Vancouver Canucks take this one 5-2 over the Seattle Kraken. It is another win in the books, 17 total points under Bruce Boudreau out of a possible 18 points right here. How can you not go out there and love this story and love what Bruce Boudreau has been doing for the Vancouver Canucks right now? This team was aggressive, this team was going out there to play, and they were unfazed by all of the crap that was going on around them heading into this stretch. So, talk to me in the comments, what do you think about the Vancouver Canucks and tonight's game against the Kraken? Smacking the Kraken is a title we already used. I believe it was the first game of the season when we discussed that. So I don't know what I'm going to talk about in the title for this one. Maybe just the Tanner Pearson, Gordie Howe Hat Trick. I'm not really too sure. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about this Kraken Canucks game. I hope you enjoyed. This was Trolls 99. And bye.